Hey everyone, this is Leska here, back to another FIFA 21 Pro Clubs player build for you guys today. And in this video, we have for you a new striker build, which was requested in the comments by a few viewers. They wanted to see an Adriano striker build. He was a striker that played for Inter Milan, most notably in his prime. He also played for a bunch of Brazilian clubs and some other Italian clubs as well. But what he's most known for is when he played for Inter Milan and the Brazilian national team. He had quite a bit of goals when he played for the Brazilian national teams. I believe he had like 42 appearances and like 30-something goals, which is pretty good ratio, especially for international play. But when he was on Inter Milan, he was absolutely insane because he's a 6'3". He's 6'3" from most of the sites I looked at. One site said he was 6'2". So I decided to go for 6'2" rather than 6'4", since there's no point in going for 6'3". So we decided to just go for 6'2". But he was crazy fast, crazy strong, and a big body, and was able to dribble very well, very agile, and had some crazy balance and strength on him. Very hard to push off the ball. If y'all haven't seen him play, y'all should definitely look up some highlights of him when he was back on Inter Milan, because he was crazy good. But I'm looking on the FIFA Index, FIFAindex.com, and I'm mostly looking around his 07 and his 06 card. His 06 card was a 90 rated striker, and his 07 was an 88 rated striker, which is perfect for this build because this build's an 88 rated striker, so it's a pretty good comparison to look at his 07 stats on FIFA 07. So going to the body page, we went for 6'2", 174 pounds, and mostly in his prime before he gained weight, he was about 192 pounds, 87 kilograms. I decided to not go for the 190s. I could have went up to like 191 or something, but the pace gets really shot quite a bit, and you really don't gain that much more strength. I think you gain one more strength going from like 174 to like 190s. You lose jumping, you lose sprint speed, you lose acceleration, you gain like one balance, but you also lose agility. So it's really not worth it. So I decided to go for 6'2", 174. Just make sure you're on the low side of 6'2" for those better stats, like this, and then just make sure you're 174. If I can get it right, I feel pretty dumb that I can't get this right. Yeah, low side of 6'2", and then 174 like that, and then you'll be set and good to go. So now we're going to go to the skill tree and look what we have for this Adriano build. Alright guys, so over here on this Adriano skill tree, as you guys can see, we're listed as a striker, 6'2", 174 pounds, and right-footed. I believe he was lefty in real life, so if y'all want, y'all can go with lefty to make it more realistic, but I decided to stay with the right foot. Over here on the physical page, this was what we're going to start with. This is probably the most important page for an Adriano build because he had crazy strength every single year. Since he was very big and he was also very fast for his size, he was also able to body people off. Like back in 07, I wish I played with him in 07 or actually 06. Because this card looks absolutely crazy. He has a 90 rated and a potential of 94. I guess that's for career mode. But he had 90 pace, 97 strength, 91 balance, 90 heading actually, 97 shot power. Imagine a 6'3" dude with 90 pace, 97 strength, 97 shot power. All those crazy stats. 96 shot accuracy, which I think is basically finishing back in the day. That card looked absolutely crazy, but I'm looking more at the 07 where he got a little bit of a downgrade compared to 06, which is a little bit more accurate when it comes to pro clubs and the amount of skill points they give us. So on this page, we went all the way down to the jumping focus and then all the way down to this bear claw, which is strength advanced focus, to get that strength all the way up. Because even in 07, when he did get a little bit of a downgrade compared to 06, he has still 95 strength. He lost 2 strength stats. But still, he had 95 strength. That's absolutely crazy. We can't even get that high for a 6'2", 174. We can't even get that high for a 6'2", 190-pound guy. Maybe even a 200-pound guy. We probably can't even get that high. It's not possible. You need to be like 6'6" or something like that. But we went all the way down to the strength just to get it up as high as possible, just to make it somewhat realistic and have some crazy strength, which 88 strength for pro clubs is very good. You should be able to body anybody that comes to you. And remember, when you're trying to body people off the ball that come like from behind you or to the side of you and they're trying to steal the ball from you, if you tap the left trigger, LT, your guy will kind of like throw a shoulder at them or like elbow or kind of stick their arm out and push them off of you for like a slight second, and they'll probably stumble if they're really weak compared to you, and then you'll have some more time on the ball. So make sure, since you aren't like going to be this isn't going to be the fastest build, to use that LT to body people off with the strength and the big body size of this build. And then on the right side, we went all the way down to the second wind. Like I say in every single one of my builds, if you are in any, I'd suggest taking the second wind off and adding it anywhere else on the skill tree. But since I don't play any, I have the second wind on. And that's going to be it for the physical page. As you guys can see, we have 94 jumping, 85 stamina, which is pretty good for a striker, 88 strength, very, very good. That 94 jumping and 88 strength is crazy. Should be able to win a lot of headers, 91 reactions, and then 78 aggression, which we can't do anything about. And so now we're going to be moving on to dribbling. All right, guys, so over here on the dribbling page, if y'all haven't seen Adriano play, like has watched his highlights on YouTube, I just remember back in the day when he was really popular and YouTube was also very popular, especially for like football clips. I would watch him play and he was crazy. Just like the size of him, the strength, the pace, and then like his dribbling ability was absolutely absurd to me. But looking on like all of the years on FIFA, it looks like he never had like at least 4-star skills. He always had 3-star skills. But then like 07 and like 06, it doesn't even have like skill moves mentioned. So they might not even had skills back then. It just says he had a 2-star weak foot because he was pretty dominant on his left foot and pretty much never used his right foot. But up in FIFA 09, it got upgraded to a 3-star weak foot, which is nice because that's what we had to settle for this build is the 3-star weak foot. So we went for the full balance and agility upgrade on the left because like I said, on his 06 card, I believe, he had 91 balance. Like, that's absolutely insane for a big striker. Most of the bigger strikers have terrible balance, but he had 91, so we had to max that out as high as we could, which is 85, which honestly isn't too bad for pro clubs for such a big player. And then we got that max agility. And then on this right side, just remember to not forget this ball control focus because you get +3 stats for 2 skill points, which will get us up to the 88 dribbling, 88 ball control, which is actually very nice. I decided to go for the 5-star skills and the flare trait because I'm a big fan of the flare. If y'all want to just go for the 4-star skills, you definitely can. I would suggest taking off the one on the left. If y'all really don't want flare trait either, you could do that and just do this one. But I suggest having the flare. I think it's one of the best things that you can put on your builds. Just very, very clutch in certain moments. But yeah, if y'all don't want the 5-star skills, just go for the 4 and then add it more onto shooting or something like that. So that's going to be it for the dribbling. The dribbling on this build was actually pretty good just for a bigger, heavy set striker. It's actually pretty freaking decent. And then if you use those 5-star skills, if you're actually going to have them on, I would definitely try and utilize them because they're pretty important for a bigger dude that's not as fast. Like you could have a smaller guy that's 99 pace and you won't have to use skill moves at all because you're just faster than pretty much everyone. But as a bigger dude, you're not just going to be able to sprint past everyone. You're just going to have to do some sort of skills to try and create that space in the box to get a shot off or just like beat someone one-on-one and stuff like that. If y'all know what I'm saying. Again, like the 99 pace, it's pretty easy just to dribble past people just because you're faster than everyone, but you can't do that with this build. You got to play a little bit smarter. And like I was mentioning earlier, like if you watch Adriano's highlights, it's honestly amazing to me that he doesn't have 4-star skills or 5-star skills in any FIFA. I think he should have 5-star skills just basing off the highlights, at least 4-star skills, not 3-star skills. Especially during his prime at Inter Milan, he did some crazy stuff, and then on the Brazilian national team as well. So I decided to go for the 5-star skills because I believe that's honestly pretty accurate, or at least 4-star skills. I wouldn't go for 3-star because that's pretty dead this year in FIFA unless maybe you're playing like CDM or something like that. But if you're on the attack, I would definitely have 4-star skills at the minimum. So now moving on to the passing section, which we don't have much to talk about since we didn't add anything on passing. And looking at his stats on 07, or actually FIFA 06 and 07, he had on every single one of his versions on Ultimate Team on FIFA, he had very bad passing stats. It looks like 65 short pass, 49 long pass in 07. So we already have better stats just for the basic stats of a striker, so we don't have to worry about that. One thing that is pretty notable is the 82 curve, which you could use for some finesses, but that's the best stat we have in the passing section, which isn't too bad. Yeah, nothing to speak about on the passing of this build. It's not going to be anything too crazy. So enough of passing. We're going to talk about shooting now, which is pretty important. Even though we don't have that much on the skill tree for shooting because we needed a lot more to balance out the build, like on the physical and pace side of things. since he is a fast and physical striker, which is pretty rare in FIFA, and they make it pretty difficult to do in pro clubs as well. So we did our best to make it a very strong and fast build. So what we had to do is not add as much skill points onto shooting. And like I said, in FIFA's, he had 2-star weak foot and 3-star weak foot at the highest. He never had a 4-star. So we decided to only just settle for the 3-star weak foot rather than the 4 or the 5, which is good because it gave us more skill points to add in other places. So what I was really going for was the high shot power, because on all of his cards, he pretty much had over 90 shot power. In 07, he had 96 shot power. It's just absolutely crazy. You can't even get that high on pro clubs unless maybe you're a 6'7", 253, then possibly, but I don't even think you can get it that high, honestly. So 96 shot power, what we tried to do is get it up as high as we could. We went for this first finishing, and then for this long shot focus right here, and the shooting focus, which will get us both shot power and long shots, which will get us up to 87 shot power, which is pretty freaking good for pro clubs in my opinion. You'll have a lot harder of a shot than most pretty much anybody else you come up against, unless they have a really big build like this. Also, it's very good just for overpowering the goalies, like first post and stuff like that. And then also, like, since the goalies in pro clubs don't have very good handling, like the computer goalies, you can just, like, even if you don't put it in the goal, but if you just put it on target, it'll most likely bounce off the keeper's hands and to one of your teammates to tap it in and get an easy goal. And in this middle section, we had some extra skill points. He had some very good heading, actually. It went down 3 from the previous year in 06, but in 07 it says he had 87 heading accuracy, and in 06 he had 90. I decided to want to get it over 90 since we had like 2 extra skill points or 3 extra skill points in the first place. I decided to add it to this second heading accuracy, which gives you +2 heading accuracy for 1 skill point, pretty good. And then to get my guy up to 90 volleys, I decided to add it to the volleys rather than the finishing. If you aren't at 90 finishing yet, I would suggest putting it on finishing over volleys because that's more important. But since I'm not, I want to get that 90 finishing and 90 volleys to make it look nice and balanced. That's what I went for. But again, if you don't have the 90 finishing, go ahead and put that on instead of the volleys because that's more important. But yeah, this 92 heading actually is pretty clutch since you are, like, if we look at the physical stats again, 94 jumping, that's absolutely crazy. You're not going to come up against anybody else that has that high of jumping, especially with your 88 strength and your 6'2" frame. You should be able to win a ton of headers like I did with this build, and then that high heading accuracy of 92 should help you slot them in the corners. So that's going to be it for the shooting section, guys, and now we're going to move on to pace, which will be the last section. All right, guys, so over here on the pace, we added all the skill points we could to this pace section since he was a very fast player on FIFA, it looks like, especially in an 06. He had 90 pace, but then in 07, he got downgraded to more of what we are looking at. He got downgraded to 86 sprint speed, 83 acceleration, which we have 86 acceleration, 84 sprint speed, which we can't do anything about. You're always going to have lower sprint speed unless you make them a little bit skinnier, which we don't want to do that for an Adriano build, obviously. So we have to settle for the 86 acceleration, 84 sprint speed, which in my opinion, I think acceleration over sprint speed is more important. Y'all might disagree. It might be different for certain positions as well, which I could agree on. But for a striker having higher acceleration, I think it's pretty solid just to be able to beat that first opponent and get some open space and then get a shot off and stuff like that. Because a lot of times you're not going to be like sprinting in behind, especially with a big striker like this. You're not going to be wanting sprinting all the time. You're going to be wanting to just be a target man, get the ball to your feet, lay it off to a teammate, have them go down the line, beat a player, cross it into you, you headed it in, volley it in, finish it some way. Just be that poacher in front of the goal. Anything that comes into the box to you, you're going to turn, body the opponent off, and finish it into the back of the net. That's what your goal is with this build. You're not going to be the playmaker or the man running down the line because obviously you don't have those skill sets. You don't have any passing stats or crazy pace stats to do that. So you're going to want to stay in the center of the field and play like a target man mostly with this build, and then use those skill moves to create some open space in the box to get a shot off, which will be very clutch. And then you have that crazy strength to body people off in the box as well. And to make up for that not as fast of a pace for this build, that crazy strength, again, like I mentioned earlier, use that left trigger or that L2 if you're on PlayStation to bump people off while you have the ball. But that is going to wrap it up for this Adriano striker build, guys. If y'all do give it a try, let me know in the comments how it worked for y'all. And also, if y'all enjoyed this video, please hit a like on this video for me now. And if y'all aren't already subscribed to the channel, I would greatly appreciate if you did that. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.